Hi, my name is Milton Brown, and I'm the founder and CEO of Terian Consulting Financial Solutions. Welcome to another segment of Versus. Today, I want to talk to you about trust. Now, I'm sure that you've heard a lot about trust on social media, and I just wanted to give you my tidbit of breaking down the difference between a revocable trust versus an irrevocable trust. I also want to make sure that you know what type of trust you have. So as I begin to describe these various characteristics, hopefully it'll help you to identify the type of trust that you have. Okay? Let's begin with the revocable trust. Now, the advantages of a revocable trust, number one, it avoids probate, right? Now, you may have heard many celebrities and entertainers who have had their assets go into probate or their estate go into probate because they did not have a trust, they had a will. A trust, revocable trust, will avoid you from going into probate, and so your assets can go directly to your heirs or to whomever you want them to go to, and not have to go through that expensive process where the courts actually disperse your assets. That's number one with avoiding probate. Number two is it allows you to maintain control of your assets while you are living. An example may be you decide that you want to distribute your assets evenly amongst all of your children or your siblings. And then one of them start acting a fool, get beside themselves or whatever, and you decide I cannot leave him or her with all this money, or I do not want to trust them with my heirlooms that's been in the family for years because they don't know how to act. And so now you want to go in and you want to make some adjustments, right? So you can put people in and out of your trust with a revocable. You can also put assets in and out of your trust as well. And that's one of the major things that people like about it is that it's extremely flexible and it allows you to maintain control. Now, the disadvantages to a revocable trust is by maintaining that control and that flexibility, it also allows your assets to be susceptible to lawsuits. Okay? What does that mean? That means that if you're involved in a car accident and you are sued personally beyond your coverage level of your insurance, that you can personally be liable for the damages, and therefore, in a lawsuit, the judge can cause you to go inside your trust and have to liquidate those assets, be it a brokerage account, be it your home, or be it any other assets that you may have. So because you still have control of that asset, even though it's in a trust and you have been told, incorrectly that your assets are protected, inside of a revocable trust, your assets are not protected from lawsuits. Okay? You can still lose your assets. So the value of a revocable trust is simply it avoids probate and your assets will go directly to your heirs. And number two, it allows you the flexibility and the control of those assets while you are alive. Now, when you talk about an irrevocable trust, some people think that irrevocable trusts are only for wealthy people. Some people think that irrevocable trusts are bad because you lose that flexibility, right? Once you set up an irrevocable trust, it's just that. It is irrevocable. It is set in stone. Now, there are ways that you can amend an irrevocable trust, but it has to be done with the approval of the beneficiaries. Okay? Now, when it comes to an irrevocable trust, it also avoids probate. Okay? However, it also allows you to minimize or in some cases even eliminate taxes. When it's done correctly, and I can show you how to do that, but you can eliminate taxes when you have an irrevocable trust. It also provides you with that asset protection that I was mentioning earlier. When you put assets inside of an irrevocable trust, it no longer is your asset. You no longer own it. You control it, but you don't own it. You may have even heard on social media the phrase, own nothing, control everything. You also heard that phrase associated with the Rockefellers, own nothing, control everything. And so with an irrevocable trust, you will own nothing. You don't own your car. You don't own your home. You don't own your real estate. You don't own the $1 million brokerage account. However, you have 100% control of all of those assets. Now, I don't know how you feel about that, but if I had a very, very close friend of mine who owned a $1 million condo downtown, and he told me that I can use it whenever I wanted to, it wouldn't bother me if I didn't own it. As long as I can use it whenever I want to, I can use the gym, I can go to the amenities floor and enjoy it. That's all that matters. I have access and I can control it. I don't have to own it. And so that's the benefit of one of the benefits of an irrevocable trust is that you have access and control all of the assets. However, you don't own it, which protects them from any potential lawsuits or creditors that may come your way. The other value to an irrevocable trust is it helps you to stay Medicaid compliant. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, some of you may have experienced with loved ones that if they ever needed in-home nursing care or they needed care at home, that the government would require you to do what is called a spin down before Medicaid would kick in. And what the spin down simply means is that you almost need to be destitute or broke. You can't own anything, can't have any assets. Otherwise, they want you to pay for your care up until the point where you no longer can, and then they kick in. Well, think about that. If your luxury car and if your brokerage account and if your $1 million home is all inside of a trust, you don't own it. So you get to maintain those assets and still receive the Medicaid assistance that you need for your loved ones. I have had several clients come to me, unfortunately, when it's too late to say they trying to get my mom or my father to turn over their accounts or turn over their home or their assets. But there's something called a 5-year look back. And I won't get into that today, but there's a 5-year look back that unfortunately prevents you from putting your assets in a trust once the process has begun. Okay? So those are the main differences between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. Okay? Now, some of the disadvantages, just to be fair, is that number one, you no longer own your assets. And some people think that that's a negative. The second thing about an irrevocable trust is it can be a bit complicated to set up because you have to make sure it's structured properly in order to protect you as well as the assets. And more importantly, or last but not least, people tend to say it's not very flexible. Once you put assets in, you can't take them out. And again, I think that that's a benefit, but that's your personal preference and your personal choice. Now, I didn't cover all of this in detail. I just want to give you a snippet or tidbit to kind of get your mind to churning. Some of you may already have a trust. Hopefully, the way that I describe this to you, it'll help you identify the type of trust that you actually own. So please take a look at your trust and make sure that you know exactly what you have. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying you need the best tool for the job. All right? That's it for now. See you on the next video.